thanks for guiding Ekansh and Gokul on that other request that has come in over the last weekend. So
No, not at all. Not at all.
We both of us will have to work together only on all this, because monitoring and evaluation, leveraging resources, it's such a small team everybody has of good people.
Correct. I agree on that.
We'll have to smartly figure out how to leverage it.
Yes. Agree on that, Jalaj bhai.
Yeah.
Where are you, Jalaj bhai? At in Bombay?
Yeah, I'm at home only.
Working from home only, Jalaj bhai, these days?
Yeah. Mostly, well, socially don't go out, but otherwise work we step out.
Correct. How is
Is my voice coming through clearly, Jalaj, Viren? I just switched.
Vivek,
I just
loud and clear. Your video quality is also good. I'm not able to see my video, but I hope it's okay.
Jalaj bhai, I can
your
see your
video
video.
Is good. Yeah, your backdrop is also nice.
Yes, I was about to say I love those curtains.
Yeah, those curtains are quite unusual.
Yes. It's very bright. I also tried to look for a backdrop with flowers, but mine is not as bright as yours.
Yours is the most important. It has the Indian flags.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
And you can proudly display it also. You and Viren both.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you.
So
I've spoken to all the 4 panelists today also. I've requested them to join a bit early also, just to test their audio video, and they can go off video and mute.
Yeah, it's just safer because Minister is also very prompt.
Yeah.
He will be with us, and I think Kavita is already there with him. So let me just check if there is any message from her. Viren, I have a message for you. Minister most likely will stay on. He wants to listen to all of you, please.
Wonderful.
So,
hi, Deepa. Good afternoon.
Hi, Viren. That was for me. Hi, good.
Hi, Deepa.
Good. I'm good. I'm here.
Thank you so much, Deepa.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for making me a part of it.
No. What a lovely backdrop.
Nice. You like the flowers?
I love it. And I love the Indian flag. It's standing out very nicely against that.
Thank you so much. I just like to have it by my side.
Deepa, I would like to introduce you to Jalaj bhai and Vivek. Have you met both of them before?
We just said hello, and yes, but an official introduction, I guess, would help.
Right.
I met you, Deepa,
Yes.
when the IOC president had also come down to Mumbai, and
absolutely. I remember meeting you.
Dinner at Antilia at that time.
Yes.
That was.
And in fact, I was just thinking of that day because Devika, can you show me that this plate? Now that I hope I can take an unofficial moment here. I was just going through this plate of mangoes, and that's being fondly sent by Neeta Ambani ji.
Yeah. They have
every year, and so I was just thinking of Antalya and how I was sitting between a John Abraham, and on my one side was John, and on the other side was Bhupati.
Well, see, you only remember John, not Bhupati.
John and Bhupati were there, and I said, wow, can anyone have a better dinner date? Both on my either side. That's what sports can do for you.
Namaste, Somaya ji.
Namaste, sir. कैसे हैं?
बस ठीक हूँ. I have not had a chance to meet you. I'm Jalaj. Viren speaks so highly of you. Other day also when we were speaking, he was most excited to have you. I said this must be a hockey bias, but he says no.
No, it's a pleasure, and I was also looking forward to interact with you. So it's lovely, and lovely to see Madam also on the line.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
How are you, Mr. Somaya? Vivek here.
Hi, Vivek. Nice to connect.
Nice to connect after it's been ages.
Yes. It's been any day today in Bombay.
Yeah, it's really wet and nice.
Absolutely.
Nice for.
I'm always worried about my Wi-Fi connection when it rains too heavily.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you, Somaya sir, for joining. Thank you, Deepa as well for joining early. I'm having slight problems with my video, so I'm just sorry. I'm just struggling a little bit right now, but I'm hoping to sort it out.
You said you were worried about your video, ना? तो हो गया. अच्छा है अभी हो गया. बाद में नहीं होगा. So Somaya ji, where are you based?
I'm in Mumbai. I used to work with Bharat Petroleum and I signed off in 2017. So I had about a 3-decade career with them.
Wow. Yeah, Viren was saying what was even more exemplary is you retired as an executive director. So,
I was lucky, I think.
professionals, why to get to that position, and for a captain for a hockey team, a gold medalist to have that is very, very commendable.
I think I was fortunate and company looked after me well. They gave me a good exposure. So in that sense, I owe a lot to them.
Good. So how do you spend your time now, sir?
I did not want to take up any assignment after I signed off. So I want to involve with sports. So I do a bit of coaching. I have a love for soccer too. So I was coaching a soccer club here in Bombay, a small one. And we have a small Kurg 11 hockey team in Bombay. So I look after that. So I wanted to be just involved with youngsters and sport. And that's the way I spend my time.
Yeah, there's a lot of football last few weeks on TV. So
Keeping me awake late nights and early mornings.
yeah. Some of the matches are very interesting when they are so high scoring. Some of the matches you see 4 or 5 goals. It's a real delight.
It's great that your close involvement with the ISL here, and it's growing in popularity.
Yeah, it's, I think, the vision all the partners had when they came together, because it is for the long run, and grassroots up, if you have to take it, takes a few years.
I follow the ISL closely and really seeing a lot of good players come through. Only thing, the national team don't get to play together for too long. So probably the results are not very encouraging.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think need to work out a much better scheduling, because teams are also not very happy when their players go away and then the national coach wants them for a very long period of time. So we need to work out a much actually, like it happens in the rest of the world, the calendar should be for 9 months, but then we can't have enough matches for 9 months here. So we need to figure that out.
Hi Gopi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Oh.
Good afternoon, Viren.
Hi.
Good
Thanks for
afternoon,
joining.
Jalaj, sir. Yeah. Good afternoon, Somaya, sir.
Good afternoon, Gopi. How are you?
I'm good, very well. Thank you.
Hi, Gopi.
Hi, Vivek. Hi.
Jalaj
Great
bhai, we
to
have
see you.
a all-star cast today. I am not going to do any introductions because no one needs any introduction.
No, I would require one.
I agree, but who called all of them?
Soma sir, you have the one thing which all of us are chasing for so long.
That was my past lifetimes that long back.
I was born, by the way, in that year. Those must have been good days. Who would have known that would have been the last medal for Indian hockey?
Yeah, I didn't realize because that was my first international tournament too. And that winning that didn't sink in. I was too young, probably, just out of college. Took some time to sink in.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi,
Namaskar.
good evening.
Am I audible, sir?
Perfectly audible.
Okay, thank
Loud and clear. So Viren, everybody on this video just now has got an invite from you. So you are the one why reason we are all here. So
No, not at all, Jalaj bhai.
I
Not
can't
at
say
all.
this all-star team and all is thanks to you.
No, not at all, Jalaj bhai.
I was seeing some of the books you have in the back. Very interesting.
I pretend to read, so I only read these sports books at the side. Rest all my wife reads.
I was seeing that Shoe Dog by Phil. So I read that few months, and I'm seeing that Ramchandra Guha in India. Yeah, lots of different things you have.
My wife is a voracious reader, and thankfully she's converting my daughter also into one.
But then she has to play sports also, no?
That also she's doing. But nowadays it's raining so heavily, especially today. So normally Friday evening is my time to take her down to play, but it's pouring outside, so maybe we'll postpone it. Gopi, by the way, she loves badminton.
Wow. That's really nice. I think when it's raining, I think in Bombay, it's a good choice.
Well, I was hoping you would say table tennis, but that's okay.
Jalaj bhai, she's not tall enough to go over the table right now. You all might not know, actually, Somaya sir used to be a better football player than hockey. I think he could have played, represented India in football as well.
But
No,
is
no.
that true for you also?
Yes.
I love football, actually. I love football, to be honest.
Actually, I remember when I got involved with football, which was 7 years ago now, or 8 years, is when I met your daughter first time. So,
Right. She was a yes. She was a baby at that time.
yeah.
Hi, Gagan. Good afternoon.
Hi, Viren. How are you?
Very good.
Hi, Jalaj,
You're in a car, or what?
Kaise?
Yeah, actually, power's gone at home, so I had to come rush down in the car for getting a quiet, and there's no power at home. Yeah, so just on the phone. Yeah.
Are you in Pune or Hyderabad?
Good afternoon, Gagan. Good afternoon, Gopi.
Good afternoon,
Hi,
Deepa.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Gopiana. How are you?
Good, Gagan.
And once again, Gagan.
Lovely to see all of you all.
Yeah. How's it being married, Gagan?
All good. Not been able to go out, but yeah, at least getting some home time, so good.
Yeah.
Wife is happy.
Stress शुरू हो गया या अभी तक नहीं?
अभी तो stress तो है यार, because Ella is competing, so stress तो थोड़ा बहुत है ही, because she's in Croatia and they are going on, so stress तो है ही, but yeah, not marriage life stress. So वो नहीं है अभी तक. That will happen when we both start competing. So that
Hi, everyone. Sir is about to join in another few seconds. Hi,
Hi,
this is
Kavita. Good
Kavita.
evening.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kavita.
Thanks, Kavita. Well done.
Kavita, you give Jalaj bhai note when to start.
Oh, he will start on his own. I'm here at Minister's residence, so lots of noise.
Sure.
Yeah. And CB is able to join?
No, please, no, Jwalesh, he won't be.
So after
He has got a commitment. Yes, please.
Sure,
That's
sure.
why the revised program has you, and then the minister will speak.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Kavita.
Okay.
Gopi, your beard has come off.
Yeah, every
He gave
few
it to
days.
me.
And also, I've been having my own haircut, so it's time to go to the barber now, I guess.
See, many of us on this call don't have that problem.
It's a sportscom thing.
Prerequisite.
To move up the ladder, you've got to get less up here, I guess.
Gopi is still the old school. He still calls it a going to a barber.
Yeah, I think far away from the new guys, because I still find it very difficult to spend money on a haircut. Yeah.
Viren doesn't need to spend much that way.
Saving is important.
Nobody
Surprised that you're not
require a daily shave to Viren.
Actually, when I see guys like Viren, what they say, कि production problem नहीं है, distribution problem है.
I think sir has come. Okay.
Not able to see him. Hello, sir.
Hello, namaskar. Sab jud gaye? Namaskar.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hello,
afternoon.
sir. Good evening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
चलिए शुरू कर दीजिए.
So, sir, should we start?
हाँ जी, शुरू कर दीजिए.
Thank you, sir. Shri Kiran Rijiju ji, Minister of State, Independent Charge of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ayush, and Minister of State for Minority Affairs, Government of India. I am delighted to welcome you all to this awareness session on India's preparation for Tokyo 2020, Olympics and Paralympics. It is with much pleasure that I would like to welcome Shri Kiran Rijiju ji, Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports Independent Charge, Ayush, and Minister of State for Minority Affairs. Sir, you have always been our guiding light in our initiative for providing a much better ecosystem. Sir, it gives us great encouragement to have your support, guidance, and leadership for taking forward the sports agenda. The year 2020, friends, was an unprecedented year and more so challenging for sports sector, where the sporting and training activities came to a halt due to the shadow of COVID-19. All mega events, including Olympics and Paralympics, had to be postponed to 2021. The athletes, teams of various sports, and coaches and trainers also had to face various roadblocks in their regular practice and training sessions, as the activities in the economy had to open in a phased manner and sports activities resumed in the fourth phase of the reopening last year. However, with the country and the world gradually moving towards normalization from the hit it has taken during pandemic, especially the coming of the vaccine has boosted optimism. As our country gears up to overcome and recover from the impact of the pandemic, sport seems ever more relevant. The importance of sports and fitness in one's life is invaluable. A fit and healthy individual leads to an equally healthy society and a strong nation. And the sports fraternity is leading the way. The International Olympic Committee has been more than ready to go ahead with the Olympics and the Paralympics this July. With Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics is going to be a big presence for India. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 in the preparations of our athletes for the mega event, India's athletes, beating all the challenges behind, are all set to enter this year's games with a strong determination and will look to script a fresh chapter in the nation's Olympic history in Tokyo. We are hopeful that this Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics will create a bigger sporting culture in the country. I thank Sports Minister Shri Kiran Rijiju ji for his support and energy and the relentless support of the Ministry of Sports and Indian Olympic Association for their efforts. Today's session has come at an opportune time. Sportscom, or Commerce Through Sports, is a non-profit apex industry body for the development and catalyzation of the sector in partnership with Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, is conducting the awareness session on India's preparation for Olympics and Paralympics. Sportscom was established in 2018 with the vision of making the sports sector globally competitive. Our intent is to build an inclusive platform for sports manufacturers, sports infrastructure developers, sports service providers, stakeholders, and media representatives to work on research-based issues and advocate for investments in sports through maximizing business participation. Sportscom has been relentlessly working on policy advocacy, on raising the quality standards and cost competitiveness of the sports sector at the global level, making Indian sports goods manufacturing sector Atmanirbhar, as per the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, increasing the scope of sports in Schedule 7 of the CSR law, regulatory bottlenecks in sports sector, impact of GST in sports sector, reverse charge mechanism in sports sponsorship are also some priority points Sportscom has been highlighting at various government levels and platforms to make the sector attractive for investment. Today's awareness session will bring out the importance of world's premier event, Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics 2021, and involvement of various stakeholders in the preparation of the event amidst the COVID pandemic. We have, friends, a galaxy of speakers with us today who are a part of Olympic preparations, would be sharing their invaluable insights and learnings in keeping the preparations moving despite the challenging situation. The COVID situation, while posed several challenges, has also brought various learnings. I would like once again to express our gratitude to you, sir, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for giving us this opportunity. I am confident that with the deliberations today, we would be able to learn many more useful things. Thank you. May I now request you, sir, to address us?
Jalaji, I have a small request because we have our superstars in the field of sports joining here. And I saw the program because you have put my address before other panelists. But I would like to hear them out first. But the thing is, I think we have 6 people to speak. So it will not be a justice if we don't hear them out. The only issue is the time. And if I speak and I leave for another program, it will also not look nice. So what I would request is, we have the stars here. I would like to just hear brief remarks or comments from them. And then I speak and then leave, because I don't want to leave without hearing them out. So we have such a superstars like M.M. Somayaji. I just met him once. He's a gold medalist in 1980 Moscow Olympics. We have our own star, Deepa Malikji, a medalist from Rio Olympics. Then we have Kagan Narang, Olympic medalist. Then we have our superstars, Pulela Gopichand and Virenji. And of course, I want to hear Vivek Singhji also, who has been close to me. So my request is that since Sportscom has done such a wonderful job in bringing us together, I would like to hear brief comments about the preparation from our players, our superstars. And then I will speak for a few minutes. I will not speak at length. I will speak for a few minutes. And then you can start with the panel discussion, because there will be questions, there will be our viewers, because this is put on live. So people will be looking forward to hear from our stars. So if you can just take around one by one and make few remarks, opening comments from them, I'll hear them out. Then I'll also speak for a few minutes.
Okay, sir, that's very kind of you to come up with this sort of an arrangement. Over to you, Viren, and then you can conduct the rest of the event. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jalaj Bhai, for your kind words, and more importantly, Jalaj Bhai, thank you for your leadership and vision for Sportscom in bringing all the stakeholders in sport together. And thank you, Honorable Sports Minister, sir. I think you are far too kind, and just by this small gesture, you have always shown, as always, that you put the athletes at the center always, and thank you for that. I've had the honor and privilege of meeting Kiran sir a few times, and I'm simply amazed by his knowledge for sport, even right back from the 80s and 90s. I think I will not be surprised if he knows every member of Somaya sir's Moscow Olympic gold medal winning team from 1980 and their positions as well. If you ask him who won the 96 Olympic Barcelona gold medal, Gopi, in badminton, Kiran sir will know that as well. So I think we're all very happy and grateful to have a sports minister who plays sport, who knows his sport, and who loves his sport so much. So thank you, Kiran sir, for always being there for the athletes. I will not speak too much. I'll maybe just request our panelists today, starting with our Paralympic hero from Rio 2016, Deepa Malik ji, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, sir, all eminent sports personalities. Thank you, Viren. Thank you, Sportscom. Thank you, Dani ji, for inviting me to speak at such an esteemed platform. I think my words here would be that the fact that we are opening the session with a Paralympic medalist and a person representing the para sports itself represents the intention of our new India, intention of our governance, intention of our sporting culture of the nation, that now India is ready to accept para sports as mainstream sports. The kind of policies, the opportunities, the training programs, they have reflected in all the hard work which has been presented through Maya's under supervision and leadership of Honorable Minister, sir. And kudos to Honorable Prime Minister, sir, because I feel that now that our country is moving to the Amrit Mahotsav of Azadi ke 75 saal, sports is one of the major tools which represents a country's health, the country's focus towards fitness, and also when we talk about para sports, it automatically declares the country inclusive, a country where everybody gets equal opportunities, where people with disabilities and different sections of societies are equally respected. I'm very privileged that I speak here in capacity of the President of Paralympic Committee. That itself, again, is symbolic that an athlete has been chosen, and that too a female athlete has been chosen in the leadership role. And that is exactly what we need right now. More and more women athletes, sports persons, not just in sports, but also in sports sciences, in sports coaching, in sports training programs, so that we have more younger talent of rural area where probably the newer talent will feel more comfortable, and that more so in physical disability. When you see more women in the leadership roles, So that way we can also vouch for a growth in women's sports culture. So I would not take too much time right now, but I would definitely thank Honorable Minister, sir, and Viren, federations like OGQs who are now really coming forward, and we can really see the growth of para sports in past decade or so. I remember when I had started playing, I had reached out to Viren and I had said, I want to represent my country. Is there a support system? And that time Viren had promised me that right now we don't have it. And today we probably have more than a dozen athletes supported by OGQ. So this itself is representing the growth. The Target Olympic Podium scheme has come as, I think, a lifeline to para sports persons. And we are very happy that this time over 40 have been absorbed. We are going to represent in Tokyo in multi-sports. It used to be dominated by athletics, but we have tremendous amount of participation in shooting, powerlifting. We have a swimmer going, and we have para canoeing and para taekwondo represented by female and bipartite. So even IPC is understanding that Indians are now, we have a girl representing TC. So all the new events, whether it is table tennis, when it is para canoeing, para taekwondo, female athletes have got, para athletes have got bipartite. And of course, we are looking at a great haul in para badminton as well. So I'm really proud that this time the contingent is going to be 4 times than the previous one, and winning at least medals in double digits for our tricolor and for the country.
Thanks, Deepa. Can I request Gagan Narang please to say a few words? Gagan?
Well, I think we've all been taken by chance and Minister Sir has asked us to speak before the panel discussion. But yeah, I mean, Deepa could not have summed it better. I think what I would like to add to the whole conversation is that I have not seen a more enthusiastic sports minister ever before. And I'm not saying it because we're in the panel here, but truly the kind of enthusiasm and the energy that you go forward with is absolutely amazing. And because of which we have seen, and everyone will agree, is unprecedented coordination between SAI and the federations. And I think when this happens, the athletes themselves are also very motivated. So I think it's the best combination right now. Unprecedented support from Sports Authority of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs, unprecedented involvement and support from the federations, and unprecedented levels of training and dedication that the sportspersons and the sportswomen of the country are showing. So I feel that we couldn't have a better opportunity and we couldn't be in better times. And I only hope, wish and pray that Olympics happen, Paralympics and Olympics happen, and we are able to represent our country and give our best, and fingers crossed, hope that our best is good enough to win us that medal. So looking forward to that period. 2012 was good performance, but 2021 of course can be a golden year for Indian sport, and looking forward to exciting times ahead. And thank you everyone. Thank you Sports Ministry and Minister Sir for giving all our athletes support in terms of Khelo India, in terms of top developmental group, in terms of tops, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Gagan. Gopi, can I request you to say a few words, please?
Yeah, thanks, Viren. I think very well said, and I would just add to what Deepa ma'am and Gagan has said. I think thank you, sir, Honorable Minister, because this kind of knowledge about sport, this kind of encouragement about first sport has never come before. And I say this, never before has somebody as high as our Prime Minister has spoken about sports so much. And I remember in 2015, for 8 consecutive Mann Ki Baats, there was sport in his talk. And every time there's a sports person winning, his mention in Mann Ki Baat is always there. So for me, this kind of push from the highest person in the country has never happened before. And that has given us the confidence, that has given the administration also at the government sports ministry level and SAIG the kind of enthusiasm needed. And today what we see, whether it's Kelo India, whether it's Fit India, Yoga Day, or it is the top scheme, I think these are schemes which have actually been very, very beneficial for sports persons. And things like Sportscom, which are actually looking at the overall growth of sport and how the other side, not only the playing side, but also the other people involved in sport are taken care of, is something which I'm really proud to be part of. Jalaji and Vivek actually have done a great job for this. And overall, for me, I've been part of the 2000 Sydney Games. And I remember one of the biggest things was that there was no confidence in the team. People would go there and we would be happy collecting memorabilia, photographs, and that's what we would be really thinking about, many of us. But I think today, confidently, I can say every member of the team is there training today to actually try to be the best and possibly win a medal. And if they don't win a medal or have a good performances, I'm sure they're going to be very disappointed when they come back. So the spirit is to perform to their best. And thanks to the government and the top scheme, actually they've gone out of the way to help in some really things. In the sense, people have been taken in chartered aircrafts to go abroad and train. They've gone out of the way to speak to ministries, governments, and then get visas. We've had our badminton coaches who was there for our doubles players. Matthias Bo was bought in almost with a matter of few days. His entire appointment was done. And today, whatever we've asked for, we've got. So I think this is unprecedented support. And I only hope and wish that we get so many medals that it just encourages all of us to keep pushing. And hopefully this could be the turning point for Indian Olympic sport and Paralympic sport. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Gopi. Can I request former India hockey captain and Olympic gold medalist Somaya sir to say a few words?
Good evening, everybody. And I'd like to agree first with the panelists. They have quite rightly said that the coordination between the Ministry of Sport and the federations has been very good. And although I have not been directly involved with hockey for many years, it's visible to me even sitting miles away. So that's one of the things that I think will lead to India performing far better in this Olympics. As far as hockey goes, I think there is a positivity about the sport once again. People are looking at a resurgence over the last decade or so, and it's largely due to the work put in by the Hockey India. I think they have put in place a very strong administrative structure, and they have been working in tandem with the government this time to ensure that the quality of players as well as the quality of performance is at its highest for the Olympics. So kudos to them for that. Another important step that that Hockey India in tie-up with the government has done is ensure high-quality coaching. And I'm sure it's the same for all the sport. We have some of the world's best coaches involved with hockey these days. We've had Terry Walsh, Roland Altmans, and we have Graham Reid, considered some of the best coaches in the world. I think because of the intervention of the sports ministry, we now have an analytical coach who also is going to support the performance in Tokyo. So the preparation that was really required for having medal winners from India, that's really happening not only in hockey, but in all sport. I'm also very happy with the exposure that the team has got. Besides the intense camps and training camps that we have, there has been exposure at all international events, including the recent FIH Pro League, where we fared exceptionally well. Unfortunately, it had to be discontinued because of the pandemic. So this combination of giving world-class coaching as well as exposure at the highest level has put our athletes in a much better frame. We are 4th ranked in hockey today, sir, and we are hopeful that going into the Olympics, we will take this confidence. It is a good way to go into an Olympic, considering that we are 4th ranked after many years. The players selected are a blend of youth and an experienced lot. So I'm very confident that they will do well this time. It's very difficult to predict whether medals could be won, but definitely they are a very strong contender for a medal this time. I'm also hopeful of the other sports. There are so many good young athletes coming in shooting, wrestling, in badminton. I'm certain that the ministry has set a target of a double-digit medal tally this time, and I'm sure that the contingent will live up to that expectation. I'm sorry, a word about the women's hockey team. I must say that the women's hockey team is now ranked 9th in the world. They have done exceptionally well and qualified for the Olympics. They may or may not win this time, but I'm certain that they will give even the best teams a run for their money. So very good prospects for hockey, and it's a lot to do with the support that you have given personally and your interest in hockey that you've had. So thank you very much for that, sir.
Thank you, Somaya sir. Vivek, maybe can I request you to quickly wrap up before we hand it back to Honorable Minister, sir. Vivek, you have been such a massive part of Indian sport over the last few decades, and you have seen Indian sport grow over the years as an industry. So your perspective would be great.
Thank you, Viren. Yes, and I echo the words that all the others have said. For me, what has been heartening is, like Viren pointed out, it's been 32 years in sports. 1988 ProCam was born. How the narrative of sports has changed, how it's become more central to the psyche of India is what is most refreshing. Honorable Minister, sir, everybody has said it. I don't need to repeat it. You have been a breath of fresh air to the Indian sporting landscape. And let me tell you, everything is precious. Khelo India Games is precious. Tops movement is precious. What you've done with SAI, how you have reinvigorated SAI. But for me, the Fit India movement, that creating that base, that inclusiveness that has brought everybody and everything together. I remember you making a statement at one of our marathon events as to that represented Fit India, when everybody comes together and runs shoulder to shoulder. So I genuinely believe that thanks to you and industry bodies like Sportscom, we will make a lasting difference. We will make a lasting change in India. And I don't think I need to say anything more. I would request you now to take this forward, sir.
Thank you very much. It was such a heartwarming for me, and I hope for maximum of people who are watching this discussion to listen to our yesteryear superstars. And Vivek ji, I find he is the strength behind Fit India movement, the kind of marathon he has been organizing, and I am fortunate to participate in all those events. It's wonderful. And of course, Deepa Malikji has been epitome of women's empowerment through sports. And Jalaj, thank you once again. You have been such a person from the corporate sector who always gives extra time to conduct this kind of event for sports. In the brief remarks by all our sporting personalities, we all know now things are changing because the outlook has taken a change. Prime Minister, I think day after, when he addresses his Mann Ki Baat, I'm also hoping that he will make lots of remarks about sports and Olympics. So when Honorable Prime Minister himself takes a review about the Olympic preparation, when the Prime Minister of the country meets the players, he tweets about the success. This shows that the government is committed to create a sporting culture in our country. What has been happening is, let me be very frank, there are some of the sporting icons in our country, but we recognize them only after they became already superstars. we don't create, government doesn't support in creating superstars. I have seen, unfortunately, I have not seen live playing of MM Somayaji, like Bhaskaranji and all. Viren, I have seen his playing. Of course, he was there in Indian hockey team as a very important player, as a captain. I've seen him playing, but Somayaji and most of the yesteryear superstars, I have not seen them playing live. This is something which I will always miss. But some of the old, videos I tried to search. Even Dhyan Chand's video, I have searched some of the videos how he used to move hockey sticks in the grass. So it was a few minutes of clips we have, but it was treat. It was a treat to eyes to see those things. And Gopi Chand, I have seen his badminton All England. The video is not good quality. I don't have a very clear video, but I've just went to the YouTube and I saw. And what a cool player he was, the other player was sweating and Gopi was very cool. He was like, full of composure in his entire approach. So those kind of things we have seen. Gagan Narang, of course, I've seen him winning medals. I've seen him, playing. And Deepaji already, she is the face of the, not only Paralympics, but women in sports. So she is very much up there with us. So overall, what I meant to say is that there was a lacking in creating a conducive atmosphere in the country to produce superstars in the field of sports. Those you have achieved whatever, it was mainly because of your effort and some commitments from the federations. And of course, there was some support from the government, but there was not, that push was not there, the government's push. So what I feel is, to change the scenario in the country, we must have full support from the government. Government must be hands-on with whatever is happening in the country about the sports, and also to give that platform where our young players will emerge and then they become an icon in the society. That's why I used to make these remarks that, kheloge, kudoge, banoge, lajawab, because it was part of the societal slogans ki poroge likhoge honge kharab. This is not an encouragement thing in our society. Say poroge likhoge to banoge nawab. So these are some of the things which are in existence in our society. So you all very well know. I mean, when kheloge kudoge honge kharab, what can be more discouraging than putting down the sports person or the sports? That was so inappropriate. Whoever had coined all these things has not done any favor to the sports. So we have to change this mindset, this outlook, this approach. So we have done many things from our side, but mainly it's the players like you who have contributed in building the progress of sports in our country. Some of the things, when I see preparation for the Tokyo Olympics, somebody was asking me, do you have any regret or you could have done in other different manner? But personally, I feel that what could be done was done. And whatever is required is being done. And we will continue to do it. Few days back, the matter came up, how our players are going to Tokyo Olympics. Then we established a contact, and now we have already arranged Air India. The Air India aircraft will take our players to Japan. We have to do it. So this is a coordination from the External Affairs Ministry. All the coordinations are being conducted smoothly. Some of our athletes are out of the country. So there are issues of visas and other arrangements. Because of the pandemic, things are becoming so difficult. So every day, you will not believe, I get 30, 40 calls only for handling the problems faced by our players. Everywhere. It's from quarantine issue to restrictions to visa to traveling to another country. It's a full-time things happening right now. So we have to ensure our athletes from abroad to travel to Japan, and those who are in India will have to make their arrangement from here to Tokyo. So these are things which are also important, because if the arrangement is not smooth, then the performance will be affected. For example, the gymnastic people came to me. So in 2016 Rio Olympics, Deepa Karmakar was nearly disqualified just because her dress for that performance was not appropriate as per the Olympic standards. Who will arrange? Not the athletes and not the coach. It's beyond. These are something which the experts will have to handle it. So we have to assure that everything is handled in such a way that the players do not get unnecessary troubles, and which will adversely impact their performance. Same manner for the Tokyo also, like our mission in Japan has created an Olympic cell. Because if our players are going for a practice, they must get to practice right on time. If our players are like hockey team, if they are made to stand for 2 hours because the practice ground is not clear, so making our players standing waiting for 2-3 hours will have so much of impact, because you have a timing for the food, timing for sleep. So there are many logistics issues which are to be handled. Like I heard in Rio Olympics, our marathon runner, she collapsed just because there was nobody to hand over the cold drinks or water or juice to her while running. These are to be arranged when our marathon or race walkers are through in midst of their competition. There has to be somebody to provide them water. These are to be arranged. So there are certain things which I have seen that beyond the hardcore performance, there are many things outside the arena where we need to arrange. So the logistic issue and everything, I'm sure, I want to assure that things are managed, and you have acknowledged also that there's a seamless coordination amongst all the stakeholders, the Federation, the Indian Olympic Association, and our Sports Authority of India. So as a chairman of the Sports Authority of India, I'm also looking after the execution of the policies. As a minister, I take the policy decisions. But as a chairman of the Sports Authority of India, I also have to ensure that all those policy decisions are executed properly. And through my team, my DG and my other officials, they're working very hard. Just now, DG sent me a video about how our Patiala, the dining table is being prepared for our players. Some of our athletics players are there in Patiala. So I was very happy to see. Maybe I will share in social media after some time. So it looks like a 5-star dining hall. So when it's a good feeling when our sports hostels get very good dining hall, very good bedroom, good practice arena. These are things I feel we are changing. Wherever I am visiting, I assure our people that I'm always there to support you. Please keep your campus clean. Quality of the food should be high. These are small things, but these are vital issues. Likewise, on the bigger note, on the larger issue, how to make India a sporting powerhouse. The best platform is to perform better in the Olympics, the biggest sporting event. And the Olympic is not only biggest sporting event, it is the biggest event of any kind. There is no event in our Earth, planet Earth, in the world, which is bigger than Olympic event. So now Olympics is coming. Thereafter, Paralympics will start. I think we are ready. And then Gopichan had rightly mentioned that mentally also our players are going with the confidence. We are confident that we will not only participate, but we are participating to win. At that level, winning, losing can happen because of so many factors. But if you are there to win, that matters the most. We are not just making a token presentation in the Olympics. We are there to win. I had said earlier also that in the past Olympics, our presence were minimum. So India was not there at large in the Olympic event. So this time you have seen from sailing, fencing, golf, equestrians to all regular sport, like huge presence in shooting, badminton, tennis, athletics, large numbers are going, and then archery. We have a very powerful team in boxing, wrestling. So we are sending a very, very strong team. And that makes India's presence in Tokyo Olympics a very, very prominent country participating to win. Now back home, how we want to make people aware of what Olympics is, because I want Olympic movement to catch up with everybody. So the talk about bringing a sporting culture in our way of life is something to do about awareness. So we have created films, you must have seen some of the films. We want to make short films for every athlete participating in our Olympics. Right after this thing, we will move to the Paralympics. Most of the films are being made, very inspiring films, good quality films. 4 or 5 minutes short films are made. We have created theme song to galvanize the people of the country to support our athlete. So this time there will be no spectators in the Olympic. Very few spectators are going to be allowed. So we are going to cheer from here. I have called upon every Indian, be in India or abroad, let us cheer for India. So to cheer up, we have created theme song. We are probably likely to launch a cheering song also. We are working on that. So we are going to connect the youths that, you can be happy. In life, there are ups and downs, but sports and sporting success can bring cheers to everyone. I always believe that if we win a World Cup, that is equivalent to 5% of GDP growth, because it provides so much of happiness. The happiness which comes with the success in sports is unparalleled. The happiness remains for a long time. 1983 Cricket World Cup winning, you still feel happy when you think about that. Gopi Chand's victory in All England, you still get happiness, think about it. Our hockey Olympic gold medal in 1980 and before that also up till 1964 when we were there at the top brings happiness. So an event or a success 5 decades back also still gives us satisfaction. So imagine if we succeed now, the present, garam feeling karna na, garam feel karna, abhi jeeta hai. So we have to bring more happiness, and for that we have to win. Nothing inspires more than winning and success. So that is how we want to cheer up the whole country, create the mood. Like railway, I talked to the railway minister, Piyush Goyal, and immediately he has ordered 6,000 railway stations in India will have that Olympic selfie point. People are traveling in railways, they can click selfies like that. We have put up selfie point all across the country. Yesterday, I saw, day before, the Haryana Chief Minister, Sports Minister, they've created selfie point and Chief Minister has already clicked the selfie photographs with that Olympic symbol. So like that, we are trying to get our citizens involved in various ways. What I want is that Olympic movement and the importance of Olympic must be understood by everyone. Sports is the biggest soft power of a nation. It displays your potential, your power, your attraction. And within the country, nothing unites a country like sporting success. When an Indian plays and the tricolor is raised, the whole country stands up. So it binds the nation together. These are so important for our country. We have to understand. That is why every country strives for their success in sports. Why? In some of the Western countries, they don't do any meeting on the day of any event when their country is playing. And for me also, I've shared this thing before also, that when India is playing, especially in Olympics, I don't want to do anything else. I want to enjoy that moment. I don't want to be disturbed. Unless my Prime Minister calls me for some emergency thing. Other telephone I will not pick up. Because India is playing, I don't want to be distracted. See, there's something called passion. If we create passion in the country about the sports, why not? Sports becomes a culture, a way of life. This will happen. So there are many things being done, and you are aware of how the sports ministry has come up with so many things to support even those who are not successful in terms of winning medals, but they have represented our country. So we are also thinking of making some more policies. We have already like cash money for the medalists, support system for international players, but I want to do more. We will come out with some more schemes where anybody who has represented India in any of the recognized sports will be taken care of by the government. These are certain things which we have to ensure the life, the dignity of these sports persons. If we don't provide dignity to our players, the players will not be able to inspire the younger generation. Their life is an example. So people see how our sports persons are living. So they are the examples. So that is how I want to create all this positivity amongst the citizens. And as I said, my Prime Minister has been so kind and very, very enthusiastic about sports and sports persons. So I have got lots of support from all other sectors. Corporate people are coming forward. I'm appealing more corporate people to come. Jalas Dani and his team are always there. And like Vivek Singh ji, always enthusiastic about hosting events. So I'm happy once again to be with all our sporting personalities who were superstars yesteryears, continues to be the superstar now also, and you will continue to inspire in the days to come. And as I said, you should be speaking more. There should be question, answer, whatever you do it. I have to leave, but I thought before listening to you, I speak and go away. That doesn't look nice. So I thought I must hear you out for a couple of minutes. I think you had made a very, very important and very pertinent remarks, which I take it very close to my heart. And the message must go, to the length and breadth of our country. Your messages are very powerful, and people must hear it. That is why I had made a very something complaint type of remark when our songs were launched 2 days back. The Olympic theme song was launched. There I said that some of our players who are going to Olympics, they don't have followers in social media. Today is a social media this age. Why? I said anybody who represents India is not a small thing. India is 1.35 billion people. Anybody who represents India is a superstar. To qualify and represent India is a matter of pride. Some of our Olympians who are going to play for India in the Tokyo Olympics, they don't have followers. I have seen some of their Twitter account, Facebook account, or their Instagram account, or there are some other social media platforms. Barring few of them, many of them have no followers. It is not good. There are superstars. They must be followed. So I appeal once again. I'm going to appeal in future also. Please follow our superstars. It's not good. Cricketers have millions of followers. It's good. But imagine an Indian going for Olympics. Please follow them. Tejinder Toor, I was just giving an example. He's an Asian Games gold medalist in shot put. Asian record holder, again going for Tokyo Olympics. He's in the top 10. He may win medal. He may not, but he's there in the top. But his follower, hardly 2,000 followers in Twitter. Why? This is not the way to treat our superstars. Those who play for India, they must be followed. Please follow our players, our stars, those who are carrying the flags of India. So I appeal to especially the young generation of India to make India a great sporting powerhouse, and that will happen only if you participate, watch the game, clap, cheer up, support, go to the stadium. If not, cheer from your home, watch TV, increase the viewership, money will come. Just don't complain that government doesn't give and that in this. Government has to do it. Government will do it. But if people support, money will come. So let us support all the athletes, and not only the Olympians, all the players who are in the field of sports, in the state level, in the countryside also, in the villages. There are tournaments in the village level. Let them, enjoy. So, but we have to support. So remember this thing. But I keep on saying that kheloge, kudoge, banoge lajawab. So play and become superstar. So today with our the very, very learned panelists, I'm once again honored to be invited. Thank you, Jalaji, for inviting me. And my best wishes to your further discussion. And I take a leave from you. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. That was very inspiring. Over to you, Viren.
Thank you, Jalaj Bhai. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for your very passionate words, and thank you for all your support for Indian sport. I'll dive directly into the panel discussion. I'll quickly introduce our panelists, and my job on that front is very easy because they actually all need no introduction at all. But I will still do the honors. Let me start with introducing Deepa Malikji. Rio 2016 Paralympics silver medalist in shot put, Padma Shri, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna awardee and Arjuna awardee, and currently she is the president of the Paralympic Committee of India. Welcome, Deepa, and thank you so much for all that you have done for Indian sport. You are a big inspiration to all of us. Welcome, Deepa.
Thank you.
Please allow me to introduce Pulela Gopichand, again former All England badminton champion in 2001. I think that was that I remember where I was moment, Gopi, and what a fantastic win that was. Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Khel Ratna awardee, Arjuna awardee, Dronacharya awardee, currently Chief National Coach of Indian Badminton, and the man who's been at the helm of Indian badminton in the last 12 years and really transformed the sport. Gopi, sincere apologies if I've missed out on any award, but I honestly cannot be blamed because your list is so long. But jokes apart, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for making us believe that everything is possible. Next is my good friend and colleague and one of the heroes of Indian sport and especially Indian shooting, Gagan Narang. We played our first Olympics together back in 2004. We got our Arjuna Award back in 2006. Then I quit soon after, and he played a mere 3 Olympics more after that. London 2012 Olympic bronze medalist in 10-meter air rifle shooting, and a 4-time Olympian, Padma Shri, Khel Ratna awardee, Arjuna awardee. He's a co-founder of a wonderful academy called Gun for Glory, which is playing a huge role in developing the next generation of shooting champions in India. His protege, Elevenil, has qualified for the Tokyo Olympics in his own event, 10-meter air rifle. Thank you, Gagan, for joining us today and for all that you have done and continue to do for Indian sport. Last but certainly not the least, one of my personal heroes growing up, MM Somaya sir, Moscow Olympic gold medal winner in 1980. How often do we have that? A gold medalist in Olympic sports for India, former India hockey captain, and represented India in an incredible 3 Olympics in hockey, something that is so difficult in a physical contact sport like hockey. Arjuna awardee. Thank you, Somaya sir, for joining the discussion today. Somaya sir is normally very hard to get him. But thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. Really happy to be here. I'm not going to waste much time. I'm going to jump straight into the discussion and starting with our Paralympic hero, Deepa ji. Deepa, I'm delighted that in the last few years, especially, there's been a growing movement for inclusivity in sport, not just globally, but in India as well. And I think you have been one of the heroes and one of the faces of the Paralympic movement in India. Your silver medal in shot put in the F53 category at Rio was just a truly remarkable achievement. Can you just tell us a little bit about what was the emotion for you? Because I know you went through so much hardship before that medal. We would love to hear it. And I started with you first because it's very important that when we talk about Olympics, we should talk about Paralympics in the same breath.
Thank you, Viren. Thank you so much for this, and that's why I said that this is the face of the new India with their new sporting culture, which is inclusive, and I truly appreciate that. Going back to the memories of my Rio Paralympic medal, well, of course, it started off as a very personal journey because I wanted to prove my abilities beyond disability. I wanted to create a different identity for myself. It was more about telling people that it's all right to be in a disabled body as long as you feel fit, emotionally you are healthy, and you are a person of hobbies. But unfortunately, people identify, society identifies with the regular this thing of being abled. Sports I've found as a huge tool to prove that, and Rio Paralympic medal was one such opportunity for me. I joined the world of sports pretty late, so it helped me break the stereotypical barriers of age, womanhood, disability, and create an aura of if you are passionate about something, you can achieve anything. For me, it was difficult from training almost for 5 years for javelin and shifting gears to shot put just because in my disability category, in that particular Paralympics, for example, for London 12, I was preparing for javelin. I missed it. And then for Rio, and after creating two consecutive Asian Games records and Asian records in javelin, time for Tokyo, the event changed, and I had to start from square one and prepare for shot put. So there was, but the medal finally when won. Of course, I had to go through a court case. Nobody believed that they thought I had cheated my way into it. Everybody said a woman in this age cannot do it. So after all that, having won it, like how Honorable Minister Sir just said that, it is a moment of happiness, not just for you. I then realized that it was larger than myself. It was more about the country. It was more about 135 crore peoples who are cheering. And that definitely made me more of an sports activist than a sports person, because that helped me talk about para sports. It helped me talk about the policies in para sports, and media gave a huge support. Uh, the medals won at Rio definitely carved a new path. And I give a lot of credit to Devendra Jhajaria, Mariappan, Varun Bhati, the world record, the second consecutive gold that Devendra brought home. And we see the sea of change. A squad of 19 is now turning into a squad of approximately 70. We are still have to have a qualifiers. We have now at par job opportunities. We have at par training facilities and opportunities. Of course, when I talk about facilities, I'll talk about my challenges when we go on to that. But Rio medals, not just mine, but the Rio medals definitely accompanied by the Honorable Prime Minister, Sirs, and Sports Minister, Sports Ministry, and SAI's focus on para sports. And I must also take this opportunity to thank you, Viren, thank you, Gopi ji, thank you, Gagan, because all of you have now taken para sports under your wings. You all are supporting, you all are training, and this collaborative culture is definitely going to be the new stepping stone for development of para sports in the country.
Thank you, Deepa. And I can definitely agree on this new collaborative culture that has come up, especially in the last 3-4 years. And Kiran sir had said earlier in his speech about creating an environment which is conducive for excellence. And I think part of that environment is everyone working closely together. So I definitely agree with you on that part. Gagan, coming to you, shooting was a disappointment at the Rio Olympics. You were part of the Rio squad. But I think I would like to say that what defines a sport or a sports person is to come back from defeat. And I think shooting as a sport has come back really well. We have 15 shooters who have qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, the highest number ever in shooting at the Olympics. what has Indian shooting and the NRAI done right over the last 4 years to get such a good performance in terms of qualification?
Yeah, Viren. So I would like to start with the talent pool, because shooting sport, I think, has been very lucky to get a bunch of talented youngsters who quickly and seamlessly graduated to the international stage. The NRAI and the federation and the government has really looked after them. Of course, with the support of the NGOs who've who's added a Philip in their arm. But having said that, I think the whole approach has changed, and even they've been even holding them out during the pandemic. That was a fact, a big part of it. Private academies, of course, where these young bunch of shooters trained, have also worked in close coordination with NRAI. The federation never really put their foot off the pedal during this cycle. Neither did the government. Unlike in the past, when shooters were themselves asked to make roadmap, themselves asked to prepare, do their own bookings, do their own planning, so this time onwards, they had the earlier generation to guide them. When we were training, I would have to do everything. And now I am still doing it, but for someone else. So it's been an interesting journey that way.
Yeah. Thanks, Gagan, for that. It's definitely been an interesting journey, and we really hope that the shooters do well at the Tokyo Olympics. I'll ask you more about that later. Talking about someone who is relentless and never happy with the achievements. I remember when his protege Saina Nehwal won the 2012 bronze medal in badminton. He was already thinking about 2016. Doesn't allow himself even a moment of rest. Gopi, if you look at some stats of India over the last 4 Olympics, in Beijing 2008, we had 67 qualifying in 12 sports. In 2012 London, we had 83 qualifying in 13 sports. In 2016 Rio, we had 117 qualifying in 15 sports. And this year at Tokyo, we already have 103 qualified, with a lot of qualifiers still to happen in 16 sports. I think if you look at the trend over the last 4 Olympics, things are definitely on the upswing. If from the time you and myself were playing back in the day, what do you think? We always criticize and grumble. That's the easiest thing to do. But what would you define as maybe 2 or 3 of the really good things that have happened over the last couple of decades in Indian sport?
I think it sounds a little crazy, but my analysis would be that growing up, 1990, 93 was an important year. India opened up. I think that was one phase which was important because equipment started coming in. And then I remember 2000, 96 and 2000, those medals of individual medals which came in, because otherwise our medals or our performances of the 80s, at least for me, Prakash Sir's big medal in 80, we couldn't relate to it as much because we almost thought he was like God and we never could emulate him, kind of a thing. It was too much of a difference. So somehow the reality was that the gold medals we can't win, kind of a thing. But when Karnam Malleshwari won the medal in 2000, that was big for me because I actually went to see the medal and I saw somebody from my state, Andhra Pradesh, then she won a medal and I could possibly do it. That's the kind of feeling I had got. And then I think when in 2004, Rajvardhan Rathod won it, I think there was that bit of confidence. And as time went by and the preparations for Commonwealth Games also, I think, was a huge thing because a lot of athletes got support and focused attention. And that definitely changed a lot of things. And of course, Mittal Trust was there, OGQ was started. There were other people who started to invest in sport, start to look at sport a lot more clearly. Some good bureaucracy was there. I think people like Injeti Srinivas, Sandeep Pradhan, they've made a huge difference. Some good sports ministers were there, whether it was Ajay Makan, then Rajvardhan Rathod, our present sports minister, and even in between the sports ministers there, they've had a huge contribution. And and I come back to the fact that when your prime minister starts talking about sport, then everything in the country kind of changes. And today, when I look at a young population, and 2012, when Gagan won the medal, Abhinav won and say Rajwardhan won, all the shooters thought we can win. When Saina won the medal, every badminton player today is thinking we can win a medal. And once you start thinking, and then many things happen. So today, when people go to the Olympics, they're actually thinking we want to win a medal, we want to have our best performances there. And governments have also helped in the sense, of course, the central government, but also state governments, like governments announcing big cash awards. So parents are pushing forward and saying, I want my kids to, there seems to be a career here. So I think a generic change in the entire outlook of our country has actually happened. Along with it, a young India, which is fearless, because that is a big thing. Because as India grows in various fields, I think why sport should be left behind is a kind of a mindset which Indians are having. So they're a lot more fearless than what the previous generation was. And I do believe that these are all reasons why today we are a lot more of a nation which is looking at medals as a possibility.
Thank you, Gopi. I definitely agree with you. I think we cannot discount the fact of how much belief a medal winner gives to a million young kids following in their footsteps. And they truly believe that if Sushil and Vijender and Gagan Narang and Deepa Malik can win a medal, so can we. So I think that's great. Somaya sir, around 12, 13 years back at 2008 was one of the worst moments for Indian hockey, when for the first time ever in our history, we did not qualify for the Beijing Olympics. And fast forward to today on the eve of another Olympic challenge, when after a long time, the Indian men's hockey team is currently ranked in the top 4 in the world. What would you say has resulted in this transformation? If you remember 2012 in London, we qualified, but we finished last, 12th out of 12 teams. So there's been a great transformation in the last 7-8 years in Indian hockey, when we are, maybe after a long time, we're genuinely finally believing that we're on the cusp of a medal.
Yeah, this transformation has taken time, Viren. And what I think the Federation or the Hockey India did was, after they took over in 2008 or thereabouts, they decided to make India a hockey hub or a global destination for hockey. Starting with hosting the World Cup in 2010 in Delhi and a host of other tournaments. They again hosted the World Cup in 2018 in Bhubaneswar. And again, the 2023 World Cup is going to be in Orissa. So they have had a host of international tournaments in India, which has given not only the Indian public a chance to see good hockey and engage with the spectators again, it's given our own players a chance to play against the best of opposition in the world in our own conditions. So that has helped the players build their self-belief and build their confidence to play in bigger tournaments when they travel out. So I think that was one very important step. If you remember, the last World Cup that we hosted was in 1981 in Bombay. So that's in so many years, in about that 30 years, we had hosted the World Cup only once, and now in about 13 years, we'll be hosting 3 World Cups in India, which itself is a big thing. So that's one of the key factors, I think, that has worked well for the team. And like I was mentioning earlier, the use of world's best coaches. Earlier, India would play with individual flair. We had teams which did well in 1 match, in 2 matches, but we never won a tournament. You see what the current coaches have done, besides using scientific method to make the team more fit and good in their skills, they have ensured the first focus has been on playing a cohesive game. And hockey, like football, if there's no coordination and cohesiveness, you cannot win a tournament. So a lot of the success that has come about in the last few years, it's taken some time coming, is because of the change in approach that has been brought on by these coaches and who have insisted on a cohesiveness right across the team, not only in the 11, but amongst the 18. Because now you have the rolling substitution where you have people coming in and out of a game very often. So I think these 2 factors, one is creating a global hub in India for hockey, and the second is really getting world-class and scientific coaching has helped India reach this position. But let me tell you, Viren, you know as well as anyone else that a world ranking of 4 means nothing when you go to an Olympic. We were ranked 5th and 6th in the previous World Cup. We finished 8th and earlier 9th. So rank 4 means nothing. You have to go in there and really perform out of your skin. Even qualifying for our group into the quarterfinals is going to take a lot of doing. So we are going in with a positive frame of mind, and I'm sure that this will help our team perform to their best in Tokyo.
I think very well said, Somaya sir. Even Gopi will agree as well. Even Prakash sir has said on several times that actually international ranking doesn't really matter at all. What matters is how well you prepare and how well you execute when it actually matters under pressure. Deepa, back to you again. Like I did, Gopi, a few stats at you on the Paralympics. In 2012, 10 para athletes qualified in 4 sports, 1 silver medal. In 2016, 19 qualified in 5 sports, two gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. And in 2020, now 21, of course, 39 athletes have already qualified so far. Many more para athletes yet to qualify in 8 sports so far. I'm sure as the president of PCI, you must be fairly happy with this upward trend. And for you, I'm sure it's a tough transformation. It's not easy to change mindset from a sports person to a sports administrator and a sports activist, as you said. What would be some of the priority areas for you in parasport to take it to the next level?
You're right, Viren. For me, it was quite a transformation, and it just happened overnight because I kept waiting for another chance to play at Paralympics. I had performed very well in shot put, and then even in 2018, I had taken on another Asian record in javelin and picked up a medal for the country. Consecutively 3 Asian records, and once again, in my category, my favorite sport never came, and it was a combined class for discus, so I couldn't take that. So I transited into the administrative role. Firstly, of course, it was the first time it happened. As soon as I took over, pandemic came. So I really didn't have anyone telling me how to run a federation when it is under the pandemic situation. So it was a great, in a way, it had its own silver lining because I really didn't have to be compared to anyone who had led the federation earlier, because this time we had to devise and innovate new ways to look after the health, the wellness, mental well-being of our athletes, and their training programs were totally devised in a new manner. So it helped. One thing which I'm happy about during this time is that our athletes were introduced to sports sciences through the webinars. We also learned, because it was pandemic and the communication happened through digital and information technology, everybody really got connected very well to each other. So this whole gap of communication between the administrators, officials, and the athletes, that kind of broke. And we could really, at the we just exchanged some WhatsApp messages, and everybody was online, and we could really talk to each other and listen to each other, have more meetings, which previously waited for a long time to happen because they had to happen in person. So that was something good. And this whole edition of sports sciences, because I had the experience that how I could increase and cross over a plateau. One thing which is majorly missing in para sports is these sciences, the nutrition, the biometrics, the conditioning coach, the injury management. So all this one was able to introduce. And what really makes me happy, like I said earlier also, that this time there is tremendous participation from female para athletes, from just being 2 in the squad. Now, like I said, not in just athletics, but even when we talk about table tennis, we have a female athlete. Canoeing, we have a female athlete. We talk about para badminton, we have top seeded pairs there. We talk about taekwondo, we have a female athlete. Our recently, just very recently, one of our parachuters created a world record. archery, we have girls there. So we're looking for a bipartite entry, even in para powerlifting, parathletics, of course. So multi sports, and some of the sports are being taken care of by the able-bodied federation. So they are also getting aware about how the Paralympic sport is now treated globally at par and as important as the Olympics. So I think that whole thing's, like I said, the atmosphere is right, the time is right. We're really looking forward to a great Paralympics in Tokyo, and finger crossed. Like I said, we have world record holders. You come to, we have para badminton, we have top seeded players, shooters, we have world record holder shooters. We talk about athletics, we have 4 world record holders in athletics. So I think it's just looking good right now.
Absolutely. Deepa, you had a baptism by fire at the start of your tenure when the pandemic set in, but I think the one quality of athletes is they always have tremendous resilience. And parasport is really looking up, and I 60 days to go for the Tokyo Paralympics, and fingers crossed that para athletes do well. Gagan, I want to talk to you about experience versus youth. You have tons of experience. You represented India in 4 Olympics. Abhinav Bindra represented India in 5 Olympics. If you look at the shooting squad for the Tokyo Olympics, just 4 of them, Apurvi, Rahi, Sanjeev Rajput and Mehraj, have participated in an Olympics before. The other 11 are making their debut at the Olympics. Will this predominance of youth work in favor? What do you think against the shooting contingent? I'm very curious to know your thoughts on that.
Well, see, having seen the current crop very closely, I mean, totally different problems they have in life than what we used to have. And it becomes very challenging. But I think fearlessness could be one factor, because at this stage, they're all performers on their way to becoming legends probably when they win a medal. So they have nothing to lose. They have no excess baggage. They are nobodies. Nobody knows them right now. They're just winners and performers. So also, unlike in our times when we would get outrawed by the whole aura of going to the Olympics, it's like, a kid in a toy store, Olympics, here you see, Martina Navratilova walking, there you see Sergei Bubka walking, the legends of sport. You remember in 2004 in the dining hall, you would see so many people walking. So we would already be like kind of, awed about all this. I don't think these people are just going there for participation. We as seniors, have kind of set the ball rolling. We already have some kind of achievement. So the kids now, they're not happy with the bronze, 1 medal, 1 odd World Cup medal. My World Cup gold medal in air rifle was the first India had ever got in 2006 when I was world number 1. Now, before they even go to the Olympics, they have 3 or 4 World Cup medals under their belt. So they're not satisfied with just winning medals. They're not satisfied by just going to the Olympics. Like Gopi also said, they want to go there and win. I mean, they are hungry to win and perform. So the bunch is wired differently totally, and it works for them. They are media savvy, they talk to the media, they still go out and win a medal. We, on the other hand, were very close in nahi baat nahi karna, have to stay focused, these questions, that questions. A major part of me talking to kids is throwing questions to them as a journalist. Okay, after you win or after you don't perform well, these are the questions that you will expect. How do you handle them before going to the final? So it can't be avoided. So it has to be done as a part of their training. So I can tell you there are shooters who may not even shoot after winning a medal, maybe pursue something else in life and be successful. They are a wonderful stage of their life and career, and let us not forget that they are amazingly talented as well. So, I mean, who would have heard about Abhishek Verma in 2017? He's the current world number 1 in air pistol today. Even though it is a young team, we have 2 world number 1 shooters, Abhishek and Elavanil, going into the Olympics. Of course, Apurvi was former world number 1. We also had experiences of Rahi and Sanjeev in the squad as well. So, I mean, the squad has both pedigree and quality.
Excellent, Gagan. For that fearlessness of youth to come back in all of us. I think Indian sport definitely needs to be more aggressive, more ruthless, and more fearless.
Yeah, looking at them, it feels like going back to the shooting range and start shooting. At least, you get some motivation back up.
Who better than you, Gagan, to provide motivation to all of us? Gopi, I want to touch upon a topic that is very close to your heart, which is coaching. I think of all the ingredients that go into the mix of building Olympic champions, we all know that the coach is the most important ingredient. Both of us were part of the PMO task force in 2016, where I knew you were always fighting to raise the standard, stature, profile of the Indian coach. I think Sai has done a good job in the last few years. They have implemented some of the suggestions in that PMO task force report. If you look at a removal of salary cap of Indian coaches, currently interviews are going on for deputation of coaches. There have been a lot of coaches development program. Do you think enough is being done for Indian coaches? And what should be the priority steps going forward to develop coaches at every level, grassroots, intermediate, elite, every level is important. Your thoughts on what should be done? Because I think that's the most important part. We cannot get Olympic medals without having good coaches at every level.
Well, Viren, it's a long answer question. And for me, I'll try and keep it as short as possible. See, I think that the three levels, I think one fundamental thing is whether the transfer of players from grassroots to intermediate to elite is happening and the coaches are actually handing them over is an important thing. Every kid in the country, every coach in the country should be working as part of a system. And at the moment, we seem to be working still in silos. And this I've been speaking about. We've spoken a lot about it in the task force. And for me, the important thing and the happy thing is that Sai is actually doing, as you said, the deputation of players who are in PSUs to come back into sport. That's a huge thing. I think Somaya sir is there, Gagan is here, I am there, you. So we've all part of PSUs which we could have actually come back into the coaching field and done or contributed. At least some of us could have done that more. I was the lucky one who could do it. So that's something which I'm happy about. Coach development is something which I'm really happy about, which the Sai is taking very good. And I really congratulate Sandeep Pradhan for actually doing this. One thing, although it might sound strange, but for me, this is very important, is that sports where India has no quality players or sports which are not established, there it's very important that we have foreign coaches, and if necessary have 100% foreign coaches, no problem. But if we have athletes who have performed at the highest level in the world, then I think we have to have a plan to make sure that we have our own staff in some period of time. I would say just say 8 years of time and say that first year we have 100% foreign is no problem. But over time, 75% is foreign, 25% Indian, 50% foreign, 50% Indian. And at least after 8 to 12 years, we should have only about 20 to 25% or even 10% of foreign staff, and 80 to 90% of the staff should be Indian. We have to progress for that from that. So I'm really surprised when hockey doesn't find even one Indian coach who is good enough, because if we have produced an Olympic gold medal team, I sure think we have the capability to produce coaches. Wrestling, which has produced Olympic medals, still has to go abroad and train, still has to have foreign coaches. Boxing has to do that. We've had Olympic medals. Shooting has to do that. We have Olympic medals. I think it surprises me that we've not been able to capitalize on those things. And that's something which we need to do in the future. I'm happy with the progress which Sai is making. And I hope that it continues, because it just doesn't stop at coach development or getting some things. It just is about empowering coaches and also respecting coaches. You want the best minds in the sport to come back and coach and not do other things. And I think it's very, very important. I have lots of thoughts around this very passionate subject for me, but I may not be able to cover all of this, but broadly, this is what I would think, Viren.
Thank you, Gopi. It's about empowering coaches, you said, and respecting Indian coaches. Samaya sir, I am going to put you on the spot because Gopi mentioned hockey as well, and hockey is on the forefront of this debate of the foreign coach versus the Indian coach. Again, I'm equipped with a lot of stats to back me up. 2004, when I played, Gerhard Rack was the coach from Germany. 2008, we did not qualify. 2012, Michael Nobbs of Australia. 2016, Altmans of Holland. 2020, Graham Reed, Australia. Women's hockey, 2016, Neil Hoggood. 2020, Sean Marine. All foreign coaches in the last few Olympics. Do you think this has worked in favor or against for Indian hockey?
See, with Indian hockey, for many years and many decades, in fact, we did try Indian coaches. We, right from the 80s to the 90s until 2004, there was sort of a feeling in hockey circles, especially, that only Indian coaches can teach our own, players. This happened only in India and Pakistan, and Pakistan somehow has still not come out of that, feeling where local players only can coach the national team. I would agree with Gopi in broadly saying that Indian players must coach and they're capable of coaching. But what happened in the 80s, 90s and thereabouts, the exposure to Indian coaches was not as it should have been. When you talk about empowerment of coaches, it would mean exposing coaches to the best training themselves, putting them through the grind and teaching them the best tactics. Besides that, using the support team of a physiologist, of a dietitian, of an analyst. In our times, there used to be only one coach in the 1980 Olympics. Could you believe that? So Mr. Balkishan was the only coach with the team. And in 1980-84, there were only two coaches. So empowering Indian coaches would mean, training them first at the highest level and also equipping them with support staff that would be able to look after the other elements of training, which is happening now, which is happening since the last 10 or 12 years. So this was the background. And I, for one, for the moment, think that the foreign coaches have done an outstanding job in hockey. I'm sorry, Gopi, to differ slightly, but I feel in the long run, we should be making our own coaches work alongside them in a manner that they can imbibe some of the strengths of the coaches and bring them so that eventually one day they can take over the national team. What has worked well for us is that we've used European and Australian coaches. And these are two styles of hockey which Indian players were not comfortable playing against. So when we have done this over the last 10 or 12 years, not all coaches were great. The foreign coaches I'm talking about. But the recent coaches, you forgot Terry Walsh. Terry Walsh, Roland Altmans and Graham Reed are probably the best in the world. So they have brought to the team an understanding of both the European style of playing and the Australian style of playing, which is really benefiting the team today. And the final point I'd like to make is that these players, having won tournaments more recently, they come in with a winning mentality and they are able to pass that on to the team. And they go into a tournament not looking at Australia or Germany or Holland as a big opponent, but looking at them as a sort of as an opponent you can beat. So I think these are the benefits that the foreign coaches have brought. But I'm really keen that our coaches work alongside them so that maybe 5 years from now, we can put our coaches fully in charge of the national teams.
No, definitely, Samaya sir. I think we definitely need to be grooming the young, talented Indian coaches and to learn from the best and understand tactics, understand strategies, which is more so important in team sports like hockey. I'm going to go through a last quick round of questions among everyone before I open up to everyone. Would request all our panelists to keep it a bit brief so that we have sport. Deepa, in Paralympics, what do you think are the main key challenges you are facing? And how can SAI, the corporate world, the private sector actually come forward to help parasport? And one quick one, how do we increase more women participation in sport?
I think the key challenges that we face first and foremost is that of sciences around the sport. Not very many people have chosen Paralympics or parasports as their field of work when it comes to sports environment. So we definitely need more coaches and more programs for train the trainers, because coach may know how to coach, but he may not know how to coach a person in a disability with limited function. So you need to have collaborative coaching environment where you have a physio, you have a biomechanics trainer advising the coach about the different challenges of different bodies, individual disabilities. Second challenge is I need more and better quality assistive aids. Sai, under the Target Olympic Podium Schemes, definitely started providing. And now they have started realizing that how much fundings that are required for para sports to flourish, because now the athletes are being provided with artificial limbs, playing limbs, specialized wheelchairs, which are amounting to lakhs of rupees. And I'm very, very happy that whenever we have a MOC, everybody understands that need, and we get full support from IOA also, because major participants are from IOA who have to approve the said funding, because everybody's taken opinions, their opinions matter. So one realization that. Second, again, like it was earlier said, that we need to host these competitions in the country. Once we start hosting it, people will understand that yes, these are mainstream sports, because we have transited from a NGO culture of charity sport into a mainstream sport. Uh, People always thought that they were just sports for the physically challenged, and it was more of a social activity rather than a sporting activity. And that is something even the corporates have to understand, that we, our medal holds the same value. We need to be funded, we need to be cherished, we need to be celebrated, we need to be supported uh, at par. Our needs of equipment, our needs of travel, our needs of infrastructure are as much and even more than our counterparts in the able body. So funding also has to increase, and more people have to start believing in us at it being a mainstream sport. We need a pool of classifiers. Like we don't have a single classifier of IPC level to actually identify talent. Talent identification is the key to growth of any sport. So if you're not able to identify if a particular person belongs to a particular disability category, then how do you even groom that person? Most of them keep training under a certain disability category, and when they reach after 2-3 years, it's a total waste of time. They could have chosen a different sport because they don't belong to that category in which they thought they were really doing well. So that is another aspect. And when we talk about female participation, like I earlier also mentioned when Honorable Minister Sir was there, we need more role models, we need more encouragement, and we need more and more female coaches, leaders, supporting staff to be present to support the female para athletes. There has been a huge support from Sai in terms of through the tops, we are able to customize, and they are supporting in letting the female para athlete choose their attendants, choose their supporting staff, so that the families have more confidence in sending the girls out to play. Grassroots level, a lot of work has to be done because 80% of the country lives in rural areas, and the mindsets towards disability really has to change. But now it is, because the policies are favorable. They don't look at a person playing sport in disability as a burden, as a liability, because they know eventually this person is going to get a job, this person is going to bring home cash rewards, this person is also going to be known as a national hero. So things are changing fast. Infrastructure, definitely, I would say that our country needs to create more accessible atmosphere in the mindsets, and also in terms of physical infrastructure, sporting arenas, especially hostel arrangements. So this is something which I feel are the challenge areas.
Thank you, Deepa. We definitely need to change mindsets, and in able-bodied sport, I'm happy to say we have so many great female role models: Mary Kom, Sindhu, Saina, Vinesh Fogart, Mirabai Chanu. Some of our top Olympic athletes are all female, so more power to them, and hope we have many more role models in female role models in Paralympics.
Yes, Tokyo is going to change that. We're going to have very many participants in the female category as well.
Fingers crossed on that. Gagan, quickly, shooting is a sport where mental pressure of the athlete is the highest. It is definitely one of the few sports where India expects multiple Olympic medals. As a four-time Olympian, what would be your advice to the athletes going to the Olympics for the first time and to handle the pressure of the event on that day, and also to handle the pressure of the burden of a nation's expectations?
So, Viren, I think the shooters have been in Croatia for a long time, and they've been training there. Luckily or unluckily, they were away from the crisis of the peak pandemic that we were seeing in India, and they were sent to Croatia on a charter flight. Again, something which is very unprecedented. So I think they've been immune to all the talks that are happening in India now, and I think they know that their parents are safe, and the parents know that their kids are safe and training in a safe environment. I was speaking to a couple of people there. They said if you wear a mask and go, they actually tell you to take the mask off. So it's that safe of an environment that they're training in Croatia and Zagreb. And I would suggest them to kind of stay away from social media likes and dislikes, and just be with their sport and mind, body, and spirit. The rest, of course, will happen automatically. The next month, 1 month, will be their test of just single-mindedness, focus, and approach, and their ability to focus and find joy in the sport. I always say, that a champion always hangs in there 1 second longer than when everyone else quits. And that is what defines a champion from just participation. So I think that should be the mantra.
Thank you, Gagan. A great word, single-minded focus and hanging in there that 1 second longer. Gopi, fair to say that Indian badminton can expect a third consecutive Olympic medal? Keeping in mind that I think badminton has been one of the sports that has been hit the most with the pandemic. I would say so many international tournaments were cancelled, and that's one of the big reasons. Saina and Srikanth did not qualify. We have not been able to have a domestic competition over the last year and a half. But still, Sindhu in a very good form. Sai Praneeth, World Championship medal. The men's double pair, Satvik and Chirag, very exciting young pair. Would it be fair to expect a third consecutive Olympic medal? I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, to be fair, I think definitely we're in hopefully a third and a fourth medal, hopefully, because I do believe that strongly that Sindhu, Sai Praneeth, and Satvik Chirag, all of them have a chance at the Olympics. And definitely we've been hit hard because tournaments have been cancelled. We could have probably had more Olympic participation had the Olympic qualification gone through its normal course. But that's the way it is. And it's going to be tough, as Gagan has said. I think just hang on there, just stay focused. This Olympics is going to be different from all the other Olympics because this is going to be more isolated. People have to put their heads down and walk. It's not the dining table, which is the dining room, which is the big thing at the Olympic Games, where you all get really enthused by seeing those top names, get lots of people to sit together and chat. I think that's not going to be there. I think the way the virus has made us is that we have to be focused. We have to put our heads down and keep it simple. And I hope that we come out strongly. And I do definitely believe, Viren, that we probably have 2 medals there to win. But yes, the world is there. It's going to be very competitive, but definitely I see that we have chances.
I love your positivity, Gopi. I asked for the third consecutive medal, but yeah, if we could make it third and fourth, then why not? That would be a great celebration for Indian sport. Somaya sir, I want to talk a little bit, last question for you on the women's team. We qualified for the 2016 Rio Olympics after 36 years. And now we've made it 2 in a row. We finished 12th and last in the last Olympics, but definitely top 8 is a realistic expectation this time. We're growing in women's hockey. I'm always a firm believer that we must promote women's sport as much as possible. Your thoughts on the women's team going to Tokyo?
Then we must remember that the Chak De film was made picturized on the women's team, and probably the public too, probably they see some hope with the women hockey team, probably last winning the Commonwealth Games some years ago. But more seriously, I think the current 9th ranking that the women have keeps them ahead of countries like the US and China, which were they were both Olympic champions in the past. So it really goes to show the large strides that women's hockey has taken over the last few years. And part of that is due to the good talent coming from academies. I can say both for the boys as well as for the girls in Haryana, Punjab, as well as in Odisha. There's a very good talent coming in, which enables the national team coaches to really work on and fine-tune them into making them top-class international players. The other good thing is that earlier dependence would be on 1 or 2 key players, but in this team, in addition to Rani Rampal, we have an array of players. Vandana Kataria in the forward line, we have Deep Grace Eka in defense, then we have a drag flicking specialist, Gurjeet Kaur. So we have the goalkeeper Savita, who's the vice captain. So we have a wide array of players across the pitch who are really capable of playing great hockey at the highest level. So that makes me very confident. I too am hoping that they qualify for the quarterfinals. Beyond that, it's a sort of a lottery because it's a knockout and anything could happen. I too am very confident that our women's team should make it for in the last 8. And it's very strange that now Olympic contingents earlier used to have the hockey team only looking out for a medal and a medal hopefuls, but now you have almost the entire contingent medal hopefuls, and hockey probably still having to catch up a bit. So I think that's a great transformation where most of the disciplines have done exceptionally well over the last few years. And I'm sure hockey in this Olympic also will catch up and probably finish on the victory podium.
And so quickly on the men's team as well, in 2004 when I played, Belgium did not even qualify for the Olympics. 2006 World Cup, Belgium did not qualify, which means they were out of the top 12. Gopi Gagan in 2016 at the Rio Olympics, Belgium got the silver medal. 2018 World Cup, Belgium won the gold medal. A country of maybe 5-6 million people, maybe, if I've not Googled the stats, but basically that is Somaya Bata railway station at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. If Belgium can win a gold medal, do you think that gives hope to the Indian men's hockey team to win a medal?
Hockey has become such an open tournament these days with about 8 or 10 teams playing on par, and it's difficult to predict who's going to win. But the biggest surprise happened in 1976 in the Montreal Games when New Zealand won. They were nowhere on the board, in earlier tournaments. And so first tournament held on AstroTurf and they won. Last Olympics, Argentina won. And no one would have given them a ghost of a chance to win the Olympics last year. You quite rightly mentioned Belgium won it when they won the World Cup last time. So India has a fair shot, but they need to be more consistent. They have taken a very young forward line, a very experienced defense. I'm certain that if they're able to find their feet in the first couple of games, they'll do very well in the tournament. But the Olympics is a tournament of nerves. You need to gather your nerves quickly so that you can perform to the best of your ability. So I'm hopeful that the men's hockey team, I'm not certain if they'll win. I won't venture to say that, but definitely a good medal prospect in this Olympics.
I think there's so much romanticism attached to a hockey medal for India, and I hope that after over four decades, we finally break the jinx. I am not sure if we have time to take questions. Kavita, is there time to take questions, or should we wrap up because we're already overshot the time? Could someone guide me on whether can we take some audience questions or?
I think you can take a couple, Viren, you can decide.
Yeah, sure. I'll take a couple of audience questions. Gagan, for you, what is required to take shotgun participation at the grassroots to the air rifle, air pistol levels by 2030, 5-10 years from now? From Nachiket Guha.
I think shotgun has been a bit lacking in terms of performance, although I think they have not lagged even a bit in terms of the kind of effort that is being put in. I would say that the rifle and pistol lot are a bit luckier that way because the talent pool is large. In shotgun, of course, because it is an expensive sport and ammunition and training is expensive, so there are not many people wanting to get in. But over a period of time, it's improved. Not as much as the rifle and pistol has. Rifle and pistol, we have 10,000 participants in a national championship. A shotgun has 400, 500 participants. So from that perspective, I think the pool needs to increase. It is coming. We have new talent coming. We have the likes of Angad Bajwa and so many other people who are Gurjot Singh Khangura, so many other people who are showing a lot of prospect. And in the future, I think things will look bright the way they're going.
Yes, we have Angad Bajwa and Mehraj who have qualified in shotgun events this time. Gopi, a question for you. Do we have any good upcoming women's doubles and mixed doubles pair? Do you see a future for doubles in Indian badminton?
Well, yes, I think Satvik and Chirag's, the way they have come up definitely has given us a lot of confidence. The coaches and the entire doubles players in the country feel a lot more strong. We had some good performances in the only couple of tournaments we had. Vishnuvardhan Gaud and Krishna Prasad reached the finals of the French Open. So they've kind of done well. We have Shikha Gautam and Ashwini Bhatt who've been doing well. But I think the pandemic and a year and a half for a young junior players is a lot of time. So I do know that there are a bunch of about 8 to 10 good girls who can play good doubles and mix. And within the next 6 to 8 months, I think once the tournaments open up, I definitely do believe that we have some good talent coming out from there.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just looking for some of the questions. So myself, for you, India is going to have a tough quarterfinal in men's hockey because on the other pool we have Germany, Holland, Belgium, and in Great Britain on that side. So if we finish in the top 4 in our pool, we're going to face one of those 4 teams. Your thoughts on an all-important quarterfinal match? And if you remember, in Rio, we lost in the quarterfinals to Belgium, eventual Olympic silver medalist. In World Cup 2018, we lost to Holland, again, eventual World Cup silver medalist. Your thoughts on that? Yes, sir.
One way of avoiding these 3 teams is to top our pool. So you tend to get the 4th, the person who's the team that stood 4th in the other pool.
They have to also play ball and also then
but yeah,
avoid
so
coming 4th.
Yeah, so that's one way. But we need to look at the example of Argentina in the last Olympics. In their pool, they finished 3rd, just 8 points as compared to our 7, and we finished 4th in that pool. So if a team that finished 3rd in the pool goes on to win their quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, and that too without being one of the favored teams, I think the tournament or the Olympic is quite open. We need to look at it with a positive frame of mind, and the boys have shown promise during the last few years, and I think they're going in with a very confident frame of mind, and hopefully they should make it through to the quarterfinals, and from there on probably even further.
Thank you. With that, I would like to say, I think we can go on and on talking about sport and especially Olympics. We have got some fascinating insights from a very, very esteemed panelist. I would like to say a big thank you to all of you all for your time today and more importantly for everything that all of you all are doing for Indian sport. I would like to hand over to Mr. Vivek Singh, Senior Vice President of Sportscom Industry Confederation and of course Joint MD of ProCam International, to give the formal vote of thanks. And Vivek, also please let me know in advance if we're having the Mumbai Marathon this year, because my goal is to get fitter than Gopi, so that I also can take part in the Mumbai Marathon. Vivek, over to you.
Viren, thank you. I think it was an absolutely amazing, amazing time with all of you for the last hour and a half. I think those who missed it today has really missed something. There was an ocean. There was an ocean of information, of passion, of emotion all coming through. I'm going to do my best to kind of do justice to what we heard for the benefit of those who've hung on. You have the Honorable Minister of Sports saying there is no bigger soft power in India than sport. This has not been said many times before. We know about theatre and Bollywood, but today we are saying that there's no bigger soft power coming through from India than sport. And I love the way he touched upon the dignity of sports people. These are things which are so close to our heart. You know, most of us have been around for a long time, and we've seen how the narrative of Indian sport has changed, how sport has become more mainstream. So today we can rightfully talk about things as soft power, we can rightfully talk about things as dignity of sports people. It was fascinating to hear Deepa speak about inclusiveness, about adaptability. How many people knew that actually her favorite event was javelin, and how she had to change from javelin to shot put to make it and then to get the silver at Rio. I think this is the real, the grains that come out, because I can imagine when you have a favorite event and that's taken away from you, your world is shattered, your world is over. So we learned about inclusiveness and adaptability from Deepa. We learned so much from Gopi, and especially when it came to coaching, I think we hit a nerve there, and how his vision is that in the next 8 to 10 years, 80 to 90% of the coaching staff, coaching assistant should all be from India. Somaya ji also had his thoughts on that, and I think that's wonderful. And I think you're absolutely right, Gopi. The ecosystem has to involve and support that. And I completely take Somaya ji's point on that, that for that to happen, they need to be exposed, trained, and put through the grind like how our sportsmen are put through the grind. You know, what comes out from this, and Gagan spoke about it so eloquently when he talked about the fearlessness of our athletes. He says in the past, we went there and we were overawed by the situation, overawed by this global superstars that walked next to us. Today, the youngsters are going in there with a simple attitude to win. They're saying, yes, he's great, but so am I great. And I think that's wonderful, this whole change in the psyche of the Indian populace, this whole change in the thinking that, you know what, we are world beaters ourselves, is so wonderful. And I think that's a great takeaway. We are going in fearless, we are going in to win. And I think, Gagan, that was absolutely wonderfully put by you. Our Paralympic Committee of India, led by Deepa Malik, our Paralympics have brought great glory in the past, and there is the largest contingent, I feel, going to Tokyo, and they're going to do glory again. And I would like to sum it up with a few words to go back to our Honorable Minister of Sports when he says, these are not sportsmen going to Tokyo. Please don't think so. These are sporting superstars. And I think Indians need to get behind their sporting superstars. I think we need to start following and liking any and every kind of sport that we can relate to. These are sporting superstars. We need to follow them. We need to revere them, because we know very well that 6 grams of gold, that's all that an Olympic medal has, but that 6 grams of gold can lift the spirits of a nation. So, on behalf of Sportscom, on behalf of my president, Sri Jalaj Daniji, I really thank you all, especially you, Viren, for holding this together and putting this together so well. I thank all our sporting legends, which are as part of this. I thank the Sportscom Secretariat for doing such a wonderful job in hosting this. I thank the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for always coming forward to support Sportscom and any initiative like this from anybody. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank all our viewers and all our listeners. Jai Hind. We're going to do it at Tokyo 2021, and we're going to do it in style.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gopi. Thank you, Deepaji. Thank you, Samaya sir. Thank you, Gagan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you, Viren. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful interaction. Thank you, sir. Thank you.